First up, Cowboys chatter. Now, after Dak ends the first half with this interception at the goal line, Ceedee Lamb says something to Dak. Dak is locked into his tablet. Sounds like my son, you know what I'm saying? Chris Collinsworth in the broadcast thought it was something. Today, is it something? So something or nothing?
Well, it's something that I think I can decipher.
Oh.
I don't know if we can roll that tape again, but this is one of those things, maybe it's confirmation bias, but someone suggested to me this is what he said, and I'm like, oh, that's definitely what he's saying. And what he's saying is, I don't know when we started over, but it's jump balls for jump ball, I got you.
And Dak seemed to be like, sounds good.
And so I don't. I know Collinsworth to me.
That looks right.
Collinsworth, I thought, made too big of a deal of this.
Yeah.
I think that this was. I don't look at Ceedee and Dak as like having a problem. I know the playoff game was weird, and that receivers, tend moody at times. But
Divas.
But yeah, I mean, I don't. So I actually think it's nothing. When I said something, I mean it's something we can determine. Yeah. I don't think that's a bad thing at all, what he did.
I think it's nothing whatsoever. Even if they had lost, I don't think it would have been anything. It does look clear. Before you deciphered it or you read, I didn't think it was a big deal, but especially when you look at that. I mean, look at his body language, his face. He doesn't look angry. Like, he's not getting all animated and things like that like we saw with Diggs and Josh Allen last year, we've seen with other receivers or even quarterbacks going off for receivers. He's not embarrassing Dak. I don't see a problem at all.
The other side of the internet coin was that he's saying subpar throw.
Yeah,
and I'm just here to tell you, I don't think Ceedee Lamb in the middle of a football game is like dropping subpar. He's subpar throw.
You're absolutely right. He's just saying jump ball, meaning throw it where I can at least have a chance to go and make a 50-50 play. But this is, for me, that's nothing. But this connection is definitely something. Based off of what we saw last year and what we were anticipating we'd see this year, they're nowhere close. They are nowhere close. And at some point, it's gonna brew like it did earlier. When the season gets a little bit more heavy and weighty and Ceedee feels like I can help us win, I can help us thrive if they struggle, if games continue to go like this, that entire chemistry that's not been on point is something.
So do you think that was, outside of let's say the interaction is nothing, but it seemed like they were on two separate pages, even if he wanted a jump ball.
I just think it was a bad throw.
You just thought it was a bad throw?
Yeah, I just think it
should have gone deeper.
It was a bad throw.
Okay.
The one piece of what Greg is saying that would actually legit concern me a bit if I were a Cowboys fan is because, I'll give Brew credit, their teams don't seem at all worried about the running game. And because Brandon Cooks is not as valuable as he was last year and he's hurt, they are truly saying, we are spending all of our time on eliminating Ceedee Lamb. And listen, it led to Tolbert having a bigger game, Dexter at 350, but that could be frustrating for Ceedee. Maybe a little less frustrating because he did get paid. It's like, I already got it. I think it'd be a bigger problem if he hadn't gotten paid.
Can you just say it?
You might have made a decent point.
No, the name of the guy they miss.
What?
Who do they miss?
Oh, Tyron Smith, man, is a great run blocker, left tackle.
Tony Pollard. I got your back, Tony.
All right. So I want to talk more about what Greg was saying more than anything, right? Is this interaction something or nothing, right? The sideline interaction itself was nothing, but it's just kind of like the issue of it not being the same and them having issues. Dak and Lamb, this was really highlighted more than anything in the playoff game last year when they got rolled by the Packers, and then it kind of continued to unfold. And this is what's really interesting because I think Ceedee Lamb is a low ego guy, and same thing with Dak Prescott is a low ego guy. It's why, from a personality standpoint, I really love them both in that regard. And so, I think the sideline exchange as well. It obviously wasn't this big, massive moment. And Travis O'Shea, Dallas Cowboys fan and friend of the show, talked about how because I did a clip talking about Bo Nix and Sean Payton getting on a fight on the sideline, and he said, yeah, especially if they lost, it would have been a bigger deal. But the fact that they won, and that's such a great point. Think about what happened with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. If they lost in the Super Bowl, that would have been the talk of the town. But the fact that they won, it was like, what are you going to do? Competition. We're all fiery competitors, alpha males. And it was keep on keeping on. And so, yeah, if the Cowboys lost this game, that would have been the headline. What is going on between, Lamb and Dak? Where's the connection? What's wrong? Who's to blame? Blah, 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 right? That would have been unfolded. But the fact that they won, it gets to kind of be swept under the rug a little bit. But I agree with what Greg is saying, where it's like, yeah, that interaction itself fundamentally isn't a problem, but it seems to be a symptom of a greater problem. And when these moments start to get more intense and tougher, where does that relationship take them? And again, we saw what happened in the playoffs. Like, they were completely disjointed and really dejected and frustrated. It's really interesting that I saw Dak, because when Lamb is kind of talking to Dak, if he's kind of being positive about it, if he's like saying, yo, give me a jump ball, I got you for, like, then it's interesting that Dak just had no response, right? I think that was the thing that maybe kind of stood out to Collinsworth as well, is that Dak just like acted like he wasn't even talking. And if someone's like coming up to you and saying, yo, it's all good, just throw me a little bit better of a ball and I got you, you would think that you would get some sort of reaction. So it's like, I'm so honestly even kind of processing that, because I like that Dak, because right, if he felt that Ceedee was kind of being combative, which again I don't think Ceedee was, kind of just being neutral, I think is a great way to go, a great way to go about it. But I also think at the end of the day, when you are the quarterback and you are the leader of the franchise, which Dak is, I don't think you ever want to have any player, even in a positive way, be so vocal towards you, right? It's like that kind of conversation is better had more one-on-one, right? You sitting on the bench butt to butt being like, yo, you throw me a better ball, like I got you, right? Like, it's just a more personal conversation. But when you're kind of like on the bench and you're saying it and other people can hear you, I think it's a little different, right? It's like shouting out to your boss, because Dak is the boss of that team, of that offense. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if your boss messes up and you're in a meeting and you're just like, it's all right, Jerry, I got you. Like, if you just, if you didn't make that mistake, like, don't worry, if you just let me know ahead of time, I could have got you. It's like, that conversation is important to have, but maybe don't say it in front of all the other employees. Like, talk individually and say, hey, Jerry, if you just let me know a little bit earlier, I would have been able to get this work done. I understand miscommunication on your fault, on your behalf. You thought you sent me the email and you didn't, but please just let me know, ahead of time. And I definitely got you, right? It's just a different way to go about it. So I feel like that's kind of probably where Dak, because I remember this also reminds me of with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, right? Stephon Diggs on the sideline went like this to Josh Allen, and it was like, bro, you don't do that. The team needs to be unified, and the team definitely needs to be unified behind the quarterback. And so if you're trying to show up your quarterback and be like, use your head, you don't do that. You don't say that to your boss. You don't say that to your supervisor. You just don't. And if you do, if you have that relationship with your quarterback, you do it privately. You do it to the side, right? Like, that's where the whole relationship is always interesting. And it's a fascinating dynamic when you're talking about these quarterback wide receiver dynamics, because they're both incredibly important, obviously, to the team. The quarterback does have more power. They are making more money, but at the same time, a wide receiver could be more important in a way. Like, it's a fascinating dynamic. So I think like that's kind of probably why you saw like no conversation from Dak Prescott, as well as also Dak probably just really frustrated with himself. Because the game was not going as planned. They did not, like, despite what people want to say, and I'm not going to unpack that, the game offensively was not a great game. Having 2 interceptions, a fumble, is not a great game. And so in that moment, it's just kind of like, oh my God, what is happening? So yeah, I think obviously Ceedee and Dak need to get on the same page. Hopefully they have conversations about it. But yeah, in the scale of of things being like great or awful. This was obviously nowhere near awful, and I think both guys handled it well, because Ceedee wasn't carrying on and being like, throw me a 50-50 ball, what are you doing, give me a chance. It was definitely felt a little bit more supportive, even if technically I from my viewpoint, it wasn't maybe the best way to go about it. But again, the fact that Dak was just kind of totally neutral, and because Dak also could have got up and would have been like, yo, you missed the route, this was bad on you, right? Like, he wasn't defensive or anything like that. He wasn't like, yeah, I know. He was just like, I'm locked and doing something. I'm looking at this right now, I'm processing it. Just because you're talking to me doesn't mean I need to talk to you right now. That is the benefit of being the leader. And it's like, I'm a man, you're a man. We're just going to deal with this separately right now. And if we need to have a conversation after the game, at halftime, whatever, we can do that. So all in all, yeah, I think it was handled pretty well, albeit differently. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Ceedee Lamb Dak sideline interaction? Is it something or nothing? Was the sideline incident something or nothing? And then also, do you agree with Greg where it's like this is more of like a symptom of a potential issue down the road? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.